Hello, hello, this is Jordan Dayton, and I just wanted to do a quick video for anyone that's interested in this particular topic. If you want to customize this hamburger navigation menu for your site, I definitely did want to customize it for my site to be on brand with our colors and everything. So I asked this question in the community, and Luke gave me a response, which was really helpful, and Drew also guided me directly where to go. So my question was, how do I tweak the CSS to customize the styling in my nav menu? Because my nav menu looked like this. Basically, I'm using these white icons, which look great on the screen, but they actually didn't show up here at all. So then I put a drop shadow on these white icons, and then the drop shadow made it so you can see it, but then it just looks grainy and kind of sloppy. And so anyway, if I made these white the way I wanted them, my group avatars, then they don't show up in here. And I also realized I don't really love having the group description right here. I do like having the group description in the group itself, like you can see here, but I don't like having it in this area. So I wanted to tweak my menu. Also, the blue, the hovers, there's this blue background that appears, shows you what group you're in. You can see we're in the questions and discussions group. But also, as I hover over different areas, it was also that same blue, which is the default out of the box Telligent blue, which is beautiful, but not what we wanted. So that is kind of the scenario, setting the basis for this discussion. And I want to show how I was able to ultimately get to exactly what I wanted, which is this. So here's our menu. It shows you where we are with that gray. I've got that description, got rid of that, and also have a nice little hover color that kind of shows, but it's different than the actual color that's selected. So I wanted to show how I did this. And hopefully this will help others in the way and save you the time that I wish I could have saved but having hacked around, I was able to figure some things out. So first of all, really helpful, Drew kind of outlined where the styling for this takes place in the format -popup -list.less. Now you can get to this by going to your community and clicking on this icon, and then managing your group theme, and then clicking edit this theme. Then going into supplementary files, or I'm sorry, I'm not at the main level. So in order to get that, you would want to go to the main level of your site, click on manage site theme, edit this theme, and then you'd look at your supplementary files, and then you can go down to find that pop-up file that Drew showed us in there. Okay, so technically you could go in there and tweak that CSS, but then Luke came in with a really great point. He said he would recommend overriding instead of getting into the specific less files and making your changes there, because then it's really easy to change your override CSS at the top level. So I was like, well, I don't know, where do I put my override file? So so Drew chimed in again and basically told me where to go to create an override file. And basically what you do is you go over to not to the custom styles, to the HTML headers, and then in this CSS files area, you can add a new file. So I added a new file. I just clicked on add, and then I called it canopy-overrides.css. After clicking add, canopy.overrides.css, clicked OK, and then I went in to click edit so that I could update that file. And this is the customization that I built for this. So I wanted to, I've actually got that baked up over here in a file so I can show you what's actually happening. So this is that same, those same pieces, or those same overrides that I made. But the awesome thing about this approach that Drew is suggesting is I'm making, or that Luke suggested, is I'm making the changes in this custom-styles, that one that I created, and then I can easily tweak those things, and I don't have to go and try to find it in the less file again, which is really nice. All right, so this is kind of how things progressed for me. Drew gave me the simple thing that I asked for, and he gave it to me perfectly, which was, how do I create a different background color? But then I went on this journey and realized and the reason I was looking for a different background color is because, sorry for all the bouncing around. I know this is hard, but the background color, I wanted a different background color because, as you can see here, well, I guess here you can see I applied a different background color, but then it still looks sloppy, and I realized, wow, you know, I don't like this at all. So I need to tweak this up a little bit. And as you can see, the hover as well, I wasn't in love with also, right? Because it's that Telligent blue. So my icons actually look pretty good when you're hovering over it with this Telligent blue. Anyway, so I needed to figure out, how do I target these other areas, right? How do I target this text and get rid of it? So the first thing I did actually is I targeted this text right here, and let me show you how I found out what text this is, right? Let's say I want to get rid of this description text. So I right-clicked on it, and then I clicked Inspect. And that brings me down to this area, and it shows me that right now, that is the description. So and notice as I'm hovering, things are changing up above. And this is really, for really novice people, this is like, was helping me figure out what to do. Now, for people that are pros and do all kinds of coding and stuff, this is a really elementary lesson, and you probably shouldn't keep listening. But anyway, this is really helpful for me because it shows me that it's the description that I want to target, right? As you can see up there, div.description, that's what I really want to target. So then what I noticed as well, and this was a new experience for me also, is I noticed that this area is dark over here, .popup, -list, .site, all the way to description. So what I did is I clicked in here, and then I selected all of that, and I copied it. And I pasted it in my custom CSS file that I showed you how to create just a minute ago, and this is what I put in there. And then this allowed me to perfectly style that description exactly as I wanted to. So I had the color white, and I put a font weight so it was lighter. And then I actually don't need even to have the font weight and the color, because I realized actually I just don't want to display that description at all. So I used a display none to remove that description. Okay, so then that got me to a point where I just had the header and the icon over here on the left. So this right here, this code right here, is getting rid of this, the description. Okay, now what you see right here is targeting the group description, the content item that specifically each individual list. Okay, and again, if you want to figure out how to do that, hover over that thing you want to check out, and then click on Inspect. So now I'm inspecting that, and I can see that this thing is called Content, right? Community Central is the content. Same thing, I came over here, and I looked at what was dark, and it was all of this through content item. Let me click off that, and I'll show it to you again. You can see all of this is the dark part, or the part that's being targeted. And so I just copied that, pasted it into my override file, and I decided I want to make that white. And then I started tinkering around with the, so I can actually bounce over to what it looks like now, or maybe, yeah, there it is. Now I skipped ahead a little bit in my thing, but basically what that's doing is it's targeting that that description, or I'm sorry, the content list, content item, the content name, if you will, and it's making it white, which is why you see it as white right now. And then it's also padding, and if you're not familiar with this, the padding goes in the order of top, right, bottom, left, just like a clockwise. So I'm going 18 pixels in from the left, right? Now watch this. I'll show you something kind of fun that you can do. And okay, so I'm looking at that div content item, And I can scroll down over here until I find, oh, there's my code that it's pulling in, this padding. Now watch this. Watch if my padding was like, let's say 0. And I can click off of that. Remember, that's the top padding. So now it's back where it actually was at the beginning. It was, or it might have been at like 5 or something. Because remember, the description used to sit below these words. So I just needed to bring this text description down. And so I tinkered with it until I found out just the right amount, which was 18. It was perfect for me. So again, go in there, and 18 puts it down from the top exactly where I want it. Now, also, this is what I wanted to show you, is by default, it was coming in like this, over my text, right? So I know I needed to do the padding on the left to bring it in. So, and then I just tinkered with it until I found, oh, 50. Actually, that is perfect. I love it. Now, what about the highlights? Okay, so I've explained the description name right here. I've the content item name, and I've illustrated that, right? These are the content items. That's this part. What about the background? The background you can see is a dark blue, just like up here, very dark. This is what Drew shared with us in the original post that I had asked the original question about. This is all I really want, and then I realized, oh, I should tweak all this other stuff. And then when I started playing around in the inspecting element and figuring out how to target specific classes, then things started clicking and making a little more sense for me. So I did change that background color from a white, which was the default. And again, to see how that works is you can inspect the element, right? And then what I want to do is, right now I'm just targeting that specific, notice up here, watch up here for a second. As I move and move my mouse down here, it's showing me different areas that's targeted. So I want to target the whole background, which appears to be this. This is where the whole background is selected. So I click that, and now you can see the background is that dark color. Now what if I just made that background like red, right? Or I could say fuchsia, there it is, right? So that you can tinker around with that, but then know that if I want to change that background, what that is it's the class popup-list.site, popup-list.site. And so you can easily do an override of that. And in my case, I did an override with the 283, nice, green, 237. All right, so that's what I did. Now, if you do make a change, let's say that we make a change here in this thing down here, it's going to stay that way as long as we stay on the page, right? It's still going to be red, but don't worry. If you refresh your page, that all disappears and you get back to reality, and then you can tinker around with the element again down there, but you can see things as they really are. All right, so I've talked now about this is the background color for that hamburger menu or this pop-up list that pulls down. And then this is for the name. This is for the description that we got rid of. Now, what are these two? So the selected one is and I figured out what these classes were the exact same way that I figured out these other ones. So I'm not going to go into those details, but you can basically determine, let's say that I'm going over here into my resources. Okay. So I'm in the resources area, and if I come up here, you can see resources and shared practices is selected. So this selected is, oops, oh, I just got rid of that, dang it. Let me see if I can, that was my reference. Hold on a second, I'll grab it one more time from here so we can use that as a reference again. All right, so we've gone through all these top ones. Now we're looking at this item that's selected. So again, I found out what the class was, put the class in, put a background dash color, colon, and then I put in the color that I wanted. Particularly, I wanted the color to match, just to keep the styling similar. I used a color that matches this right here that we're using. So So basically, I use a tool called MonoSnap because I love it, and I just trigger that to start, and then I can move my cursor over any hex code that I want to get. So I just Command C, I grab that hex code. Another way that you can do it is if you know what your hex code is. I guess that's something you would do, kind of hacky, like if you're using another site and trying to get a color. But actually, if it's not an image, if it's actually code that's baked into the site, HTML and CSS, you can inspect the element again, right? And I can see like what is that color right there, right? So I can kind of move my mouse around here. Oh, I'm gonna look in the body. Why it's not opening up for me. Here, let's go right here, see if I can inspect this. Anyway, so that's not working for me. It is, I do have, I don't remember where, it's actually like in the footer. So I don't know how to get to that, but as I'm hovering over this stuff, yeah, it's somewhere in here. I don't know. Sorry, this is now becoming a waste of time. All right, anyway, I told you this was going to be raw, didn't I? All right, so back to this. Now, if we go into one of these areas, like we go here over to this canopy zone, and I click on groups now, and you'll see that I'm in the canopy corner, right? And that background color is right here. Now, also, I grabbed the another color, like you can see as I hover over this. Actually, what I did is I just took this color right here, which is the 283237, and then I went to another tool. Where did I go to? The W3 Schools has a color picker that I like to use. It's w3schools.com/color/color_picker.asp. And so I put in my 283237 so that I could get a variation on that color. And then I just went, you know, a few levels up from that. I think, oh, there it is, 566B76, 566B76. So I grabbed a 40% instead of the 19 or 20% that I was on, so that it was still kind of, you know, kind of on the same palette, that color, but it's just a lighter version of that, my background color right here. So then I put the hex code in here, and again I got this CSS, these classes, by inspecting the element and finding out what that. And notice this is the hover, right? This is the selected. This one is the hover. So here's my hover. So that's it. That's what I did. I went in. Again, I told you how to add a new CSS file. And then once you've added it, I clicked on edit. And this is where I came and tweaked all this stuff. And then also you can add a CSS comment by doing a slash or a /, and then a star. And then you end it with a star /. And then whatever you put in the middle will be ignored. And so I just put a reminder to myself that this is how you customize the hamburger pop-up navigation menu. And then I probably am going to just take that, copy it, and put it down at the bottom so I know that that portion is done. And you know what's happening in between there is that. And essentially, I could actually get rid of this stuff, but since I already did the work, yeah, you know, I don't need it, so I'm just going to get rid of it. And I know how to add that back if I need to. But everything else is pristine. And then I want to show you one more thing that's pretty cool. So I'm going to get rid of that and come back here and just get rid of this too and show you that everything is working exactly how I want it to be now. And I couldn't be happier with how this ended up working out. Right? I've got my dark menu, I've got an icon, and the text is centered the way I want. Okay? So what I want to show you is, let's go to the central, and I just want to show that if I go over into mobile view, how things change. Right? So this is what a person would be seeing on a mobile site, right? Or Let's go back to our main community menu, right? And then when they click on that pull down, boom, it's exactly what I wanted. And I looked on my mobile phone and checked it out, and this looks super slick, really clean. And so anyway, couple other points. If there's anything else that you're interested in, like this is a totally different point, but making these hover cards right here that essentially are just links that change as you hover over them. And also it's responsive, so as your screen size changes, so do they, right? And they just kind of adjust based upon how big your screen is. Another big thing that took me a long time to really work through is how to hide this left navigation bar. One of the challenges I was having as well is this navigation bar was sitting over top of my community, so my content would hide under it. So I figured out how to make it so that navigation bar is actually to the left of the community content, so you can see nothing sliding underneath it right now as I get a smaller screen. Also, when I get to I believe 676 pixels or something that I defined, I can't remember why, but there's a very particular number that I wanted to do it for. But you can see as it gets smaller, that bar just disappears. So when you're on a mobile device, you won't have that in the way. And then mobile folks on a tablet or a phone can use that menu up there at the top instead. So that might be something that you're interested in. Or one other component that may be interesting to you is these hover cards, same kind of thing. And these ones change a little bit more. It kind of goes in as you hover, and as you get closer, it kind of makes it a little deeper. But also another big thing about this nav menu that's kind of unique and special is that obviously when you hover over it, keeps it really minimal and clean over on the left, right? But when you hover over it, all the titles come in, and then when you click on one of them, you'll notice that you get a nice subtle fade in. So it tells you where you are, right? So for example, if I'm in the questions area and I'm asking some questions, and I'm like, oh, this looks pretty cool. This Meet Melanie, I wanna go and check this out. So a person clicks on this. Notice the left navigation menu is blue right now, and now I'm meeting Melanie, and I happen to be in Community Central in that area, which is the red area. So it uses some JavaScript to look at where someone is based on the URL, and then do that subtle hover, or I'm sorry, that subtle fade in to kind of give them that indicator that you're here now. And then that helps people to know this is it. This is the community. You have a home page, then you've got these 5 main areas, and every bit of content you look at, it's going to be within those 5 main areas, except of course all of your home and profile and all those kind of things are considered part of the root or the home. So I have home that's highlighted for those types of things. But anyway, I gave you a little bit more than you bargained for in this video. I don't know if anybody's ever going to watch this because it's so long. But anyway, if I had a video like this, I would have loved to have someone just tell me what to do and how to do it. But I did learn a lot in the process, and hopefully you learned a lot in the process of following along in this video. So thanks for watching. Good luck.